The whole movie, I was like on the edge of my seat, like just like waiting. It really felt like a thriller. So if you like things like that, this is the movie for you.
Welcome back to I2I, the place where we talk about anything and everything Disney. My name's Kyle.
And my name is Jessica, and today we are going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
We are going
Volume
to be
3?
grading it specifically spoiler-free for everybody out there. This is a safe space for you to be in if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I just want to call it like Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I wanted to have a title, you know, like...
Volume, but that's the whole thing because it's all
I
got
know,
the music
but you know,
tie
like
and...
Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Takes New York, Spider-Man whatever.
I leaned in to see if you were actually going to get the titles right for my favorite franchise, but you failed me on that
The Adventures of Spider-Man.
Okay.
That's one.
We're off to a roaring start. No, it's not.
Oh.
So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is our graded, spoiler-free review of everything that we saw. We saw it very first viewing on Thursday, when they came out. So we had fresh eyes on this thing. So Jess, why don't you tell people, just as a reminder, what the grading system is like for us?
That would be great if you pull up some notes so
there
I
are
can
your
remember.
Notes ready. There you go.
So there are 5 categories. Our scoring is from 0 to 5. I assume we can give a 0? Or are we saying 1 to 5?
I guess you could give a 0 because that's what we would give to Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, on all the counts. Sorry about that.
So 5 is the highest rating that a category can get. Obviously 0 would be the lowest. So our categories are visuals and atmosphere, sound, design, music, story and theme, characters and dialogue, and finally entertainment and enjoyability for a total perfect score of 25, which I believe, Kyle, you gave that to Endgame?
Well, we weren't doing this system when Endgame was out, but yes. Endgame would not be 100, it wouldn't be 25.
Okay, so, well, that just flopped.
Spider-Man No Way Home probably would have been that if we had done that at this point. But either way,
remembering a Spider-Man.
That is how we're going to do this. If you want to see spoiler discussion, we'll do a separate one of that where we just, openly talk about things that's coming after this point. So let's talk about it. Our first area to grade this one is visuals and atmosphere. Would you like to go first, ladies first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I mean, per usual, it's a Marvel movie. The visuals and atmosphere are always going to be great. Even if you don't love the movie, I think we can all appreciate visuals and atmosphere. So I gave it a 4. I thought it was, it's almost perfect, but just...
What was something like that kept it from the 5?
For me, there were a couple scenes that we stayed in the same location for a very long time. Like the beginning segment. I will not give any spoilers, anything, but there's this opening segment where we are in the same location for a really long time, which is not normal for
it's a bit
a
of
Marvel
a
movie.
It's kind of a, I don't want to call it a montagey thing, but it's almost...
Yeah, and it just wasn't visually appealing. It was just a very dark area. The walls and stuff around it were brown and I get that that's part of the atmosphere, but
I see.
It just wasn't a Marvel.
For me, it's a 5 because Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the most eclectic, because it's out in the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
You see all these different species, all these different places. Some a little weird at times, and it's kind of all right, I think we went a little bit overboard on that. Yeah. And they kind of got a little bit sometimes, I want to call it too graphic, but very visually open with carnage of other species and stuff.
Yeah.
So the visuals, they look great. It sells a lot of CGI. Obviously, if you're complaining about CGI at this point, just get over it.
You might as well not watch any movies from here
basically,
on out if you don't like CGI.
We get it. It's over CGI. But for me, I like looking around, and I could find myself looking around again in this movie if I were to see it again.
Sure,
and
see different things.
Wow, this is... I didn't catch that the first time, especially that fight scene towards the end. That was a really good one there.
That's fair.
Next one.
So wait, did you say your number?
Oh, did I not say it? So 5. I thought I said it.
Yeah, maybe you did. Maybe I missed
5 at the very beginning there. Sound, design, music.
So this is where my perfect 5 came in, because it's Guardians of the Galaxy. That is kind of what draws me in to Guardians, is the music. I really love the old school playlists and how they interweave it into the actual story. And I love that there's a lot of thought behind which music we're picking, and I'm sure that's true for all movies.
Did you know that there's a Spotify playlist for it?
Oh, of course I did know that.
Yeah.
For all of them.
Yes.
But I just really appreciate the music in this.
High standards when you're a Guardians of the Galaxy movie at this point. For me, I didn't find myself humming like I did the last time after seeing
No,
it.
that's fair. These are not songs that we know as easily. Like, some of them we knew, but there were a couple of oldies that I was like, whoa, even I didn't know that.
Well, no, I knew some of them, but like I didn't know some of the ones that I ended up Come and Get Your Love. Like I knew of it, but like I never would have just started singing it for any reason other than the Guardians movie. And it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. For that reason, I'm giving it a 4.
Okay.
Still high, very high marks for it. Plays well, used well in the moments that the music comes into play. It just didn't reach the 5s like the other ones did, for me. So, next one, story and theme. Let me go first this time. Story and theme for me is going to be a 3. I think there were a lot of plot threads in this one that they were trying to manage, which is kind of the case with all Marvel movies at this point when they're trying to have all these interconnecting stories. And when you have a group ensemble cast like this, same thing. So it kind of felt like we wanted to focus on, let's say, Peter sometimes and what he's going through, but then we're focusing, I'll just, not spoilers here, but Rocket a lot. And some other characters had their own things that were going on and things that they were dealing with. And it kind of felt like all of a sudden we were jumping from here to there, here to there, here to there. Oh, but this was the main story. We're back to it.
Yeah, that's true.
So 3, just because it was a little hard to follow at times.
What's the primary plot? I think for me, I also gave it a 3. There were a couple of plot lines in this story that were really hard for me to watch, and just as an FYI, this is not a spoiler because this is, part of the movie and like in the trailers.
She cried.
But yes, there are some things if, it'll just make you cry, and there are some things in this movie that I don't know that I could stomach watching a second time.
It got a little misty in there. Like, you got a little misty, and there are moments that are hard to watch, and it's...
especially if you're an animal lover.
Yeah.
There are just some hard things.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for CGI. That's all we can say.
But it makes it look real at times.
Yeah.
Next category: characters and dialogue. For you, what you got?
I gave it a 4. It was great. I didn't have any reason not.
Nothing just that stands it out to like a 5.
Right. Nothing that stands out, but also nothing that made it just mediocre. Like, right. I thought the characters and the dialogue were better than mediocre, but just not perfect. How about that?
So for me, characters and dialogue, obviously it's about, does the character play well, but does what they're saying to themselves, with others play well? You and I several times throughout this movie had like out loud laughs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in some of the moments were things that we saw in trailers, but because they played well with what happened before and after that we didn't see in the trailer, we found ourselves laughing out loud at this.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's a character thing. That's a dialogue thing. We know these characters. We know Star-Lord. We know Groot. We know Rocket, Gamora, Nebula, Drax. Who am I forgetting at this point? Now you got Cosmo and Kraglin all in there. Like, they all...
I know who Kraglin
She was
is.
there. She was with me for like the first 5 names. And
is
then
Kraglin?
Kraglin the fin head. Remember?
Kirk from Gilmore Girls.
Sure.
Or Kurt.
Gilmore Girls reference in this thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I had it listed as a 5 because I was like, wow, this was done with all these storylines going on. Still great moments with all the characters, I felt like. Final group we have, or final grading portion, entertainment and enjoyability. What you got?
This is hard for me because the whole movie, I was like on the edge of my seat, like just like waiting. It really felt like a thriller. So if you like things like that, this is the movie for you. But there is just one certain plot line that I cannot talk about that it is just hard to stomach for me. And like I said, that's probably why I can't watch this movie again. So I had to knock it down to a 3, even though I did like really enjoy the visuals and I really enjoyed everything else. But I just truly don't know that my stomach could handle this one more time. So I had to give it a 3.
I had to, you saw when we were initially putting our grades down, I brought it down. I wanted to put it at a 5, but I brought it down just because there's such a high standard for Guardians movies and Marvel movies in general for me. Like, No Way Home's up there. Look, No Way Home haters out there, that's fine. I will argue day and night with you about that, about plot holes and all the stuff. But
what Marvel movie doesn't have plot holes?
But anyway, so like for me, you got to now reach Endgame, No Way Home to be a 5, and even as
Black
much
Panther.
even as much as I like those movies or this movie and all the things it does well, I still think it's only a 4 for me.
Yeah.
It's so close to a 5 though, because I would, in a heartbeat, someone says, I'm gonna go watch Guardians 3. Let's go.
And I think that's where I am. Like, I really loved it, but I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I could like really watch it again. And maybe I could now that I know what happens and I wouldn't just be on the edge of my seat, like freaking out the whole time. Maybe I could watch it again because we've watched Endgame twice and you've watched it more than that. But maybe now that I know the outcome.
You're okay now. Because there are some suspenseful moments and things. We're going to talk about those in the spoiler stuff.
Very suspenseful moments.
Final scores for us. Jessica had a 19 out of 25.
Yeah.
And I had to redo my math here because we didn't change it on there. 21 out of 25 for me. Still high grades, no matter where we differ.
When you think about that, so a 21 is an 84% out of 100.
Look at her doing math on here.
So, I mean, and mine's what, 76%. Like, out of 100, that's a pretty good score.
It is.
That's a really good score.
High marks for Volume 3, and I'm sad that this is the last of this trilogy. That's not a spoiler in any way, but just know that this is the last of a trilogy and these things like that. So we hope you guys will come by the spoiler-filled review.
After you see the movie.
And yes, and keep the comments down below, spoiler-free as much as you can for those that haven't seen it. Just grade it for us, what you think on this scale of a 25-point scale, where you think it would land on all those different categories. What else should they do on their way out?
If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any of this content.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of I2Y. Until we assemble again.
May the Force be with you.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye, guys.